Welcome to Leading with Purpose, the podcast that's dedicated to helping you become the leader you aspire to be. Join us on a journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and inspiration as we explore the world of leadership and personal growth. In each episode, we will explore the art and science of effective leadership, bringing you insights, stories, and strategies from experts and thought leaders across various industries. And now your hosts, Dawn Marie Bornhammer, Maisha B. Hoy, and Dr. Sharon H. Porter. Welcome to Leading with Purpose, the podcast that's dedicated to helping you become the leader you aspire to be as you lead, empower, inspire, and achieve. I am Dr. Sharon H. Porter, Editor-in-Chief of Vision and Purpose Lifestyle Magazine.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maisha B. Hoy. I was recently called a Chief Professional Beggar. So I manage and market Maisha's Lemonade Stand, Q-Bob, and Customer First Marketing.
And I'm Dawn Marie Bornheimer, Founder and Chief Impact Officer for Mission Inspired Consulting.
And we would love to welcome you back to the show. Today, we have an incredible, powerful, and inspiring guest joining us, Miriam Simon. She is a powerhouse when it comes to empowering ambitious women leaders. She helps women embrace their inner warrior with strength, vision, and conviction, all while honoring their softness, femininity, and heart. She is a Hudson Certified Leadership Coach, a seasoned HR executive, and a trusted advisor to employee business resource groups. Miriam is also a proud member of the Forbes Coaches Council, a sought-after leadership panelist, and a recipient of the Hispanic Achiever Award. Through her dynamic coaching work, she specializes in guiding women, particularly single mothers and those navigating new chapters in their 40s, to turn adversity into growth and dreams into reality. Whether through one-on-one coaching or her impactful Latina Mic Drop podcast, Miriam is on a mission to help women lead with purpose, rise with confidence, and step fully into their power. She is also the author of the recently released Tattoos and Pearls, combining street wisdom with corporate strategy. Miriam, welcome to Leading with Purpose.
Thank you. I am so happy and excited to be here with you all. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. We are truly excited to have you. And I always love to start with the origin story. What inspired you to focus your work on helping women, particularly those who have overcome adversity, to reclaim their power?
Yeah, so it always comes at a moment that is challenging, right? So, I've had a lot of moments where I've had so many different things that have happened throughout my life. But the reality is that I'm a Latina. I was born in Mexico. My parents brought me here when I was 6 months old. So I was raised really in Jersey. And I was raised by immigrant parents and grandparents. I was really raised with my grandparents. I love my grandparents to death. Without them, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And they really helped form all the different ways of how I am today, and all the different sayings and all the different ways in which I help other people. And they helped me see that by helping others is how you will get good things in return without asking for it. And so my grandparents were the kind of people that would have their relatives come from Mexico or wherever they were coming from. They would literally stay at the couch for a little while until they got themselves on their feet, and then they would help them get a job. They would help get themselves on their feet, help them with their family and things like that. And that's how I learned to do the same. And for me, it was just one thing after the next. Everything was a life lesson for me. I'm the oldest too of 7. So that has a lot to do with it, right? When you're the oldest, the eldest daughter, you have a lot of responsibility. The first granddaughter, the first daughter, and first niece, you have a lot that you become a spoiled brat, but at the same time, it's a lot of responsibility. So for me, it's just I just done so many firsts. I'm really one of those like first Jenners who is really just making it and doing a lot of things on my own and helping navigate through the world on my own, really.
And it sounds like you actually was just doing what was natural to you, being that person. But I just can imagine the victory and achievement that comes from that, from working with these individuals for them to reclaim their power, because that is powerful within itself. So thank you for that.
Hi, Miriam. I too am the oldest, but not of three. God bless your parents and grandparents. But I understand the responsibility that it comes with being the oldest and the one that they look up to, even if they hate the fact that they look up to you. That's a shout out to my sister. Anyway, I read your blog today and I felt like I knew your brand so well. The titles were so strong, and bold. I mean, it was just out there. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to change my blog. But tell us the backstory of how your superpower became strength and boldness.
Yeah, growing up, I never really got along with my mom. And that was an adversity that I was so different from her. And I was so empowered in a way that she couldn't deal with it. She was like the opposite, right? She was very calm, quiet, and I was a very outgoing, ready to go get it, high achiever, A+ student, played volleyball, social. I just did so many different things. And that's where it came from. And I recently wrote about how I learned how to advocate for others because I needed to advocate for myself. And my mother was the person that would stand at the door and not let me go out. She would not let me hang out. She would not let me do this. And it was almost like I needed to free myself from her. And now I don't even speak to her because she doesn't accept that I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community. So I've been with my wife almost 20 years. And it's been tough to come to the realization that your mom doesn't accept you, right? And that's where I get the boldness from, because I've always had to fight for what I've wanted. Even raising my kids, I had them all by the age of 21. And my grandmother would say, you're so young, maybe you should just give your kids to your Aunt Gloria, right? And, because I was young, I was having fun here and there. I was doing what I could. I was always working and I was always taking care of them. But for some reason, they thought that it was best for them not to be with me. But I was not the one that I wasn't going to give up my kids. Right. And I always had to fight for what I wanted. And that's why I have such a bold way of speaking, or a bold way of letting people know I'm here, I'm powerful, I can do it. I have strength, I have resilience. Yes, I've had a lot of adversity, but I've made it through every single one of them. So I'm here. And that's what I want other women to see, that just because you were handed a certain hand, or you made mistakes and did things while you were younger, or you had your kids young, whatever it might be, I was with the wrong person. He wasn't the right person for me. I had 3 babies and it was really tough for me. But I realized that I had just really, what I did was I realized that I was repeating a horrible cycle. And once I recognized that, I was able to break the pattern and break free from that. And these are the types of lessons that you learn as you go through it. And now I'm that person who is just bold and moving forward.
And we love it. We absolutely, I mean, I read some of the things. I'm like, oh my gosh, her story is so powerful. And I'm glad that you're sharing that with others. I too am one person who did not get along with my mother until I left the house. Now we're fine now, but I had to leave, go away to college, feel my power, try to help her see it, that it wasn't anything wrong with being this way. So I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy that you've come this far. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you, Maisha. Love that you're still talking to her and have come around, right? That it's come around.
It was a journey. It was a journey. So maybe that journey still hasn't completed for you and your mama.
It's true. I think so too. You know, that's what I hold on to, and hopefully one day it'll be different. But we'll see.
We'll see. But you're bold. You'll do it. You'll handle it.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading a little bit, as Maisha was, about your background, and one of the things that jumped out at me was your ink framework. And I think you're alluding to some of that in some of what you've already shared, but I would love for you to walk our audience through that part of your approach and kind of the underpinning of that framework.
Yes. So part of what I talk about is instinct, right? We are normally taught to pay attention to what everybody else wants from us, right? It's what our parents want, it's what our grandparents say, what the older generations want, right? It's always respecting your elders. And it takes so long for us to really listen to ourselves and understand what it is that we want. And there's always a calling or a gut feeling, something that is talking to us, but we don't know how to recognize it and understand it. But once we listen to it and we hear it, then it's our job to be able to navigate through it, right? So that's the N piece. The N is navigation. How do we navigate to where we want to go from where we are? And that is what is going to take you to the next step, right? Those are the action steps you start taking, because once you know what you want or what you want to do or a decision that you make, then it's about navigation. And then the final piece is you need to have a killer mindset. That's the K, because if you don't have a killer mindset and you don't understand that you're going to find people who are going to think you're crazy, you're going to find people that are going to say you're not ready, you're going to find people who are going to challenge you, and you're going to get rejection. So rejection is going to happen, whether you're trying to get a new job, whether you're trying to start something new, whether you're trying to, like for me, even be with somebody that was my same gender, right? That was something I needed to fight for. But instinctively, I knew that's who I was inside. That's who I needed to be. That's what I needed to make that decision for myself. And because nobody else navigated through that, I needed to figure that out for myself. And that was one of the main reasons that I wrote that ink framework, because that's why I'm still with her today, almost 20 years later. She helped me raise my children. I had the two parent home that I wanted for my children. And she helped me through everything. Like, we are the most supportive couple. We just came back from Jamaica 2 days ago. We had never even traveled international, and we both do it together, and we both do it scared. And we've supported each other from our 20s to our 30s. Now we're in our 40s, and now our back is hurting and things are a little bit different, but we're navigating through that space together, right? And we're the definition of not having competition and being two independent women who want something and achieving that. And without the ink framework, neither of us would have gotten through it. And that's where that came from, because we're taught to do things differently like everybody else and ask for permission, and you need to listen to yourself.
No, I love that. And I have what I would refer to as a sacral response, right? My gut feeling is a hell yes or it's a hell no. And anytime I go the other direction or I question whether or not that's right, the negotiation never works out. I really need
Yes.
to decide and allow that decision to be firm and then step into that decision as the next right thing. And that's when the unfolding happens. It's at that point of surrender, but also that deep awareness that that feeling's there for a reason. And so stepping into that feeling and choosing it and then moving forward. So I love the K for the killer part, just to really stay the course, because we can't always see the whole staircase, and that's okay, right? But the beauty is on the other side, which your relationship is a beautiful example of that. So thank you for sharing.
Yes, thank you. And that's sometimes when we don't realize the red flags that are coming up, right? Because the instinct piece will tell you, hey, this isn't right. This doesn't feel right. Something is off. And that's where you need to start fact checking and seeing, is it really off or is it just me, thinking nonsense? But that's where you can pick up if something is not really going in the direction that you want it to go. And then you can, navigate towards the right direction.
No, that's perfect. And I can imagine that's really helpful to coach people through as they need to borrow confidence from you at times.
Yes, definitely.
So, Miriam, first of all, congratulations on your recently released book, Tattoos and Pearls. Can you tell us a little bit about the premise of that book? The title is so intriguing.
So that's so interesting that I've had the title for over a decade. So when I was being onboarded at my job in aviation and transportation, I was talking a little bit about myself and letting them know about who I was. And my hiring manager said to me, you should really write a book. You're interesting. And I'm like, but write a book? What would I even call it? Right. And what's so interesting is that I have this tattoo on my wrist. So I had a bracelet that had pearls on it. And she literally looked at my wrist, pointed at it, and said, tattoos and pearls. And I was just, now that I think about it, like I get the chills every time I say that story, because that's the seed that was planted back in 2013. So that is insane just to think about that. And then one thing led to the other. I lost an executive sponsor 3 years ago, and I was really looking on how I can share my story, I was at the peak of my career, and how do I share what I'm doing? I don't have that executive sponsor anymore to help me out. Now I needed to navigate things and be on my own. And I looked and looked and coaching is how that came into my world. And that's how I found my publisher, because she's a Latinas 100 founder. And she was including stories of Latinas like myself. So I included my story and I ended up getting selected as a Latinas 100. And then after that, she was like, hey, do you want to write a book maybe? And she goes, and I was thinking, you know what? I do have a title called Tattoos and Pearls. And she said, wait, you have a title? That's new. Normally when I ask people, they don't have a title. So let's get to work. And we did.
First of all, I love that story. Really love that story. And you've really done well as far as marketing and getting out there, and just how fitting is that title. Oh my goodness. So I love that. And congratulations on the success of it.
Thank you. Thank you. And I was just thinking about like all the things that have marked us for life, right? And as a coach, you learn to say these are the stories or these are the things that are happening to where we are today. Mm-hmm. And now what are the pearls of wisdom that can come from it, right? What are the things that are happening for me instead of to me? Mm-hmm. And that's exactly where I started going with it. And it ended up being so perfect. Like the timing was just, I can't even make it up how perfectly it all just came together, really.
I can imagine, because when you think of it, it's really like direct opposites, being tatted up and then delicate as pearls. So I just love it. I love everything about it.
And you learn sometimes, right, to protect yourself,
Yes.
to be tough. And that's how I grew up. I needed to be tough. I needed to be strong. But inside, I feel like a turtle, like like
Yeah.
sometimes I just want to go into my shell. That's how I was protecting
Yeah.
myself. But as a woman, you have so many different ways that you're feminine and you're soft and you're caring and you're loving. But there's also a time where you
Yeah.
need to be, like get
Absolutely.
yourself up there and get that energy and power up.
I love it. Thank you.
So I'm glad we're having this conversation with you because this is such a crazy time in the world, right? Culture, who we are, who we're going to be, who we are in these spaces. So you work with professionals who often feel like the only one in the room. What strategies do you use to teach them not to code switch and really to start shaping culture and instead?
And this is something that's really difficult for women to navigate through. And it's really just asking them the questions that they probably haven't heard of. Or what I'm noticing is that they just are afraid to own their power.
Mhm.
I realize that women give their power away a lot and are asking for permission to do things, right? It's almost like they're in the room but they don't believe it. It's almost like because I don't think they recognize it takes time to integrate into the role that you're currently in. And I'm their mirror to help them see how they've gotten this far, what has been their wins, on what have they done recently to get to where they are. It's so interesting because I had a client who really hadn't found their voice, and all we did was really just recognize how far they had come up until that point. And once they made that, they saw it, like it was so impactful, like their voice changed and they were talking so loud all of a sudden. I think my neighbor could hear them, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, the person is really going in because they found their voice, right? And that's part of what we sometimes just don't see. And so for me, I really just work with them to recognize where they are and how far they've come, and us also understanding that although things may not seem the way they are, I'm there to help them see that through. Because I think a lot of times they're just waiting for permission. It's almost like a permission slip you need to sign off for people. And I love to do that for them because women for some reason are just always waiting, not all of them, but most are waiting for someone to say yes you can, or you're invited to the conversation. And so I help them understand that, hey, maybe you can make that recommendation. Why are you holding back? What is it about the situation that's making you feel uncomfortable, right? And I really use the pearls strategy when I talk to them, because it's about positioning, right? Where are you? How are you making it happen? What are you where are you? What are you doing or not doing that's keeping you invisible? The execution piece. Are you delivering what you say you're going to deliver, or are you not? Then the agility piece, right? How agile are you? Are you really looking at the flexibility, or are you being rigid and not looking outside of your box, right? Are you just checking boxes too? And then the resiliency and rewards, right? Making sure that they are celebrating their wins, and sovereignty, so that they understand that you shouldn't lose yourself in the process, right? What are the things that make you happy and bring you joy, instead of what everybody else, right? Some parents tell me, oh, I only eat chicken nuggets. What do you mean chicken nuggets? What do you like to eat? You know what? I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm going to eat. Yeah. So it's all about that. There's just so many different ways that we can help our clients and navigate leadership and find themselves and really own who they are and where they are.
And I'm curious, and you may not know, because it's funny when you talk about the client who became loud. I wonder what the response was from her company to her now owning her power. Do you help them navigate when they're like, they come into their own and now they're people are like, who does she think she who does she think she is?
The best part was that I was able to see this person because they were an EBRG leader. So an employee business resource group leader. Mm-hmm. And so they weren't in the leadership role. They became vice president after working with me. Then they ended up having all these different kinds of meetings and all these different kinds of events. And it really led to them leading the organization in a different way and taking on the role they didn't think they could. Mm-hmm. And that is what I love to see. Like, I love to see them get that momentum that they were just holding on. They were just waiting. And, it was like they were just waiting. And I'm like, what? You could go now. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks so much. That's awesome.
Yes. Thank you.
So I was reading one of your articles in reference to caregiving and what it looks like to be more supportive of employees that may be in that season of life or in that role. And I would love for you to just share a few of the tidbits or takeaways that you offered in that article. We can certainly link the remaining part of the article in the show notes. I think I read it on your LinkedIn profile, but what I loved about it was this acknowledgement of we can do that and not lose momentum if we do it well.
Yeah, so part of what happened with me in the fact that caregiving for my children was top priority for me, right? And something that I see now, because my kids are in their 20s, so they're adults now. I don't need to caregive anymore for my kids or my parents, but I have witnessed so many employees who have their parents that they do need to caregive, right? But the important piece is that it's important to do both and have what I call a pendulum, right? Not life balance. Because if you think that you're going to just be on one side or the other side, or you're going to be in both at the same time, right? There's sacrifices you need to make. I mean, there are things that I waited 15 years to go back to college because I wanted to raise my children. But the other piece that I did do was I was able to move on to different roles because I had my wife who supported me. So it's important to have people around you, right? Who's your village that you can rely on? And a lot of times we don't ask for help, and we should be asking for help. We should be seeking who we can speak to. We should be seeking what is it that I can do instead of what is it that I can't do, right? What is it that I can do with the time, with the people? What are the resources that I have available to me? And getting that so that you can reach your goals and be realistic. It may take some time. It may need a break here and there, but you can definitely get those.
No, thank you. And I think the pendulum is a great analogy. I often subscribe to the word harmony because I feel like all of the pieces get to coexist. Some will take up more space than others at different seasons of time, but it's an acknowledgement that they all have to work together, right? And yes. The unfortunateness of setting of balance is it feels oftentimes unachievable. And so really finding whatever that is for the person that needs to hear it, understand it, embody it, that allows them to have the weight dispersed as needed at different points in time, and the acknowledgement of the flexibility required in order to allow those that really genuinely want to contribute to do their best work, knowing that they don't have to feel shame around the priorities that they have in their life at that time. So thank you for that article, and thank you for your contribution to the conversation, because I think it's an important one.
Yes, it definitely is. And as a leader, we need to be able to understand where our employees are, right? And where they need our support, right? Maybe they need to work an afternoon instead of coming in at 9 o'clock in the morning. And that may be what they need for that day or that time. So really being flexible with whatever it is, like during the pandemic, I mean, so many of the staff members were losing their parents, right? And it was a tough time for them. And caregiving is so important because so many are either taking care of their parents or taking care of their kids. And we shouldn't have to pick between our profession and our families. That's something that is very tough. And it's something that many make the choice because it does become so difficult for them to keep both.
Yeah. No, it's an important conversation we need to keep having. But yes, the pandemic amplified it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Miriam, can you share? I was listening to your latest podcast, 5 Ways to Craft the Life That You Want. And I know you talked about instinct earlier, which was the first way. Can you share briefly those 5 ways?
Yeah. So step one is learn to listen to yourself. So here is where you really want to think about what is it that I want? What is it that I'm thinking about? Am I playing nice? And that's actually something that I'm going to continue to write about because it's so important that we understand what it is that we want in our lives. Like, is it that we want this job? Sometimes we're in a job that we're doing because our parents or other influences came in and said, hey, this is what is right for you. But in reality, we may not even like what we're doing. We're just going through the motions. Step two is face everything and rise. So that's a saying that I say to myself all the time because you can either do forget everything and run, which is fear, right? Or face everything and rise. And the reality is that there are some things that we really just need to get through in order to get to the other side. While I was writing my book, I had to really go deep in my soul and go deep into my memory to be able to write about some things that were pretty traumatic in my life. And the only way that I could get through it was going to therapy. And that is something that I needed to really face at this point. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to talk to you without crying about it, right? I would be talking to you from the wound instead of the scar, which isn't going to be helpful. And I really needed to really just face that. And I think so many of us are scared to go there. And I am here to tell you, yes, it is a little bit scary. Yes, it is a little bit daunting. Some of us are afraid to even feel. Some of us are don't even know what an emotion is. Some people are numb to things. And this is how you can move forward and you can begin to feel joy and you can begin to feel happiness and really live the life that you want to live. Number three is stop waiting for permission. Here, oh man, we are just, there's just so much that we can do on our own. And there's no reason why, if you want to start a business, you want to start a podcast, we're kind of waiting for things to be perfect. And in that sense, we just have to go and launch messy. If you look at the Chingona Times, right? My Chingona Times is my blog. And that one, I just moved it from a different site into a new one because I recognized that that's the way it was going to work better for me. And some of the titles don't have a picture next to it, right? And that's okay because that's the message is still out there. The words are still out there, right? And sometimes we just need to go ahead and move forward and just try it. And if we don't try it, we're not going to know if it's worthy or not. We're not going to know if it's going to work. And that is part of the killer mindset of just, hey, I have this idea, let me try it. And you can't be afraid to fail. You can't be afraid for it to not work out because then you know a way not to do it, or you learn from those mistakes. Number four is stop asking others what they want. So a lot of times I would go back and forth with my wife, and I would say, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want for dinner? What do you want for dinner? And then we never made a decision. And then we would get mad at each other. And then it would be half an hour later, right? And we still haven't made a decision. So it's like now, okay, I want sushi. And she'll say, well, I want, Chinese food. Okay, so where could we meet in the middle, right? Maybe you could get it, I could get it, or we go here today and we go there tomorrow. So now it's like, how can I bring into the situation what is it that I want, and then let them tell me what is it that they want, and then we can negotiate that and figure out what are the next steps, right? We are most of the times asking other people, and sometimes we don't even say what we want. We don't even tell anybody anything. So how are they going to know? They're not mind readers. And that's what I think about all the time. Like, we really need to tell them, and you'd be surprised at how many people want to help you and want to satisfy what it is that you want. They will really do it. I mean, I've asked people things and I'm shocked that they write back to me. Now, as an entrepreneur, right, you have to pitch yourself to so many different people, podcasts, different things. And I'm asking, but I'm also learning how to give as well, right? You need to be able to do both. And so I think before it was mostly just give, but not get. And now we need to learn how to give and get at the same time. And 5, start saying no when it's a no. I mean, there is just so much pleasure in being able to say no and stop doing the things that you had to say yes to because you had no choice, right? I've lived through that where I had to go to work. I had to do this. I had to deal with the specific people. I had to, because I had no choice, because I needed that paycheck, right? But nowadays I have options. I can say no. I don't need to take that promotion if it doesn't work for me in that schedule. I don't need to go around these people if I don't feel comfortable around them, right? So that no is so powerful, and we tend not to use it because we tend to people please sometimes, and we want to satisfy others, but in reality we're hurting ourselves by doing so. And so those are the 5 steps to live the life that you want, which is so important to be able to craft what it is that you want to be, you want to do.
I absolutely love that. Especially it just brought me to the remembrance of when I first started podcasting almost 10 years ago. No cover art, no music, and no edits. Talking about a messy start. And I chose to keep those up there because when I do help people with that, I always take them back to it. You have to just start. And so I absolutely love that. Do it afraid. I think Lisa Nichols was one of the first people that I gravitated to that talked about doing it afraid, not knees and chattered teeth. Just do it. And so I absolutely love that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Thank you.
I don't know about Dr. Sharon and Dawn, but I really feel like you're our third soul sister souls host. We've gotten pieces of ourselves in you, Miriam. It's been such a fun podcast for me. But you gave us so much great advice. I mean, great advice, wisdom, insights, the whole 9. But what is a daily practice that you do that makes a meaningful difference in your life or your leadership?
So something that I do now is I name my emotions. So I didn't used to do that before. I would get pissed off. I would cry. Not even cry. I would just feel like I wanted to cry. And now what I do is when I have those moments, I take time to write it down. So instead of just continuing on with my day, I will take a break. So I'll take a break either if I'm at work, I'll begin to clean up my desk and just think about what's happening, why is it happening to me? and becoming aware. Was it something that triggered me? Was it something that really upset me? Why did I get upset? What bothered me about it? And really just naming that emotion, because I wasn't doing any of that before. I was just going, I was just, I think we get into the habit where I'm, I work in New York. So New York is fast paced. Is go, 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 go. I work in HR. It's like go, 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 go. We have this initiative, that initiative, that initiative, this and it's like, where am I going? Right? Like you have to move over. Otherwise people are gonna pass you by. And I learned to be that way forever. I was in survival mode for so many years that nowadays I really take the time to think things through and understand what I'm feeling. And that's actually how Chingona, the Latina Mic Drop podcast name, popped into my head, because I had a rejection for promotion and I was really feeling it and I couldn't get past the feeling. And I said, you know what? Let me just take out my pen and paper and start writing. And I started writing, and that's how I said, you know what, Miriam? The reality was you were thinking too small. That's what I ended up writing at the end. That job was not for you because that's too small for you. That's not where you're headed. This is where you're headed. And then it gave me such power to think that through and really understand my emotions and feelings. And then through writing it out, right, I take it out of my body. And it's almost like when they tell you, hey, write to yourself an email at night so it could come out of your head and come out of your body. It's similar. That's what I'm doing with my emotions. With my emotions, I'm exerting them out so that I can feel better and I know where to move with it and what it's trying to tell me. And that's how the name Latina Mic Drop came up, because I literally got up and I said, boom, this is what it's going to be. I'm a Latina who's gonna mic drop it. And that's what I'm learning. That's actually how I wrote my Latinas 100 story too. It was through a moment of crying and feeling that emotion and taking out that pen and paper and writing it down on the train ride home.
Well, I love doing this podcast because I get to talk with coaches and leadership people and management experts and consultants. And I get to take little tidbits from every single one and apply it to my life. So I think I'm going to start naming my emotions now just to see where does that lead me? So it sounds awesome.
It helps me so much. So much has come out of that, like so much creativity. It's almost like it's burning inside. And out of a challenging moment. It's always out of a challenging moment. And it's this feeling and emotion you get. And once you have it, like really just think it through and really give it its attention that it's asking for. And instead of sweeping it under the rug, and something will come out of it.
I think I'll do that tonight because I have a meeting tomorrow that I am not looking forward to. And I'm like, why do I keep having that feeling that I am not looking forward to this meeting? So I'm going to name my emotion tonight and I'm going to message you tomorrow, let you know how it turns out.
Yes, let me know. Yes, I would love that.
What a beautiful action step, Maisha. I really like how you're going to take this and apply it right away. Which leads me to my question, which is really for the emerging leaders. In the beginning of our conversation, Maisha, acknowledged you for being really bold with your brand and recognizing how you wanted to show up in the world and really leading people to do the same. And I'm curious if you have any guidance for those emerging leaders or a common mistake that you see that they often make when they're trying to identify themselves as unique and stepping into that personal brand. What are some things that you observe that they do, and perhaps one tidbit or a bit of advice you can offer that repoints their arrow or gives them a running start?
Yeah, so part of what happens is we tend to look for models or inspiration, and instead of looking inward and finding our power. We try to find our power through other people. And that is something that I see a lot of emerging leaders trying to do, is like, oh, they do it this way, so let me do it the same way. And then it doesn't work for them, right? Because we're all different in so many different ways that our leadership could look differently, and it may look different. And I think it's not about copying other people. It's about, will this work for me in my situation, in what I'm working on, in what I'm doing, in the project, right? Do I even want to be a leader? Some people realize that they don't want to become a leader. I had so many people that I was running through a development program, and then at the end they said, oh, this is not what I expected it to be. And right, once you're in on the other side, they think, oh no. And for me, it's really important that they also recognize that you don't need to do this alone anymore. There are so many people and so many ways that you can own your development, own your career development, find out the kind of leader that you are, try different things, do different things that will help you see the kind of leader that you are and what you're good at and what makes you happy. And that's really important. I think so many people are just trying to copy other people and not really paying attention to what it is that resonates for them, right? Some people are very data analytical people. I'm not one of those persons. Like, I'm not. I will not. I can look at it and I can tell you what the trends are, but I can work with people and find the patterns pretty quickly that way. Or I can pick up through other behaviors of how I see trends and patterns in different ways than other people do. So those are the kinds of differences that we need to start to pay attention to sooner rather than later. And earlier in your career, it's easier to make little mistakes or to try different things because you can adjust easily. It's easier for you to adjust because the stakes aren't so high. And then once you get to those higher level positions, you have more experience under your belt because you tried different things.
Yeah. Now, thank you for that. And I think it's important for emerging leaders to continue to iterate and ideate, right? Continue to allow yourself to grow, and self-leadership is a beautiful opportunity to do that, so really owning your own career development. So thank you for calling that forward as well, because it allows you to sort and sift and kind of figure out what is for you and what might not be, and that's all okay. Right now, labeling things as good or bad, but they just are. And really that acceptance of your uniqueness is what's going to allow you to step into your fullest expression. So thank you.
Yes, definitely. And not be, yeah, you're welcome. And not being afraid of asking for what you want. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you need to ask for it. I didn't wait for somebody to tell me if I wanted to be a coach. I advocated for myself and said, I want to be a coach. And my company paid for it.
Beautiful.
Well, Miriam, this has been such an amazing episode. We just want to thank you and give you this space to please share your information. How can our audience connect with you? How can they follow you and keep up with all the amazing things that you're doing?
Yeah, so I have my blog called The Chingona Times. That's where people can read the different blog stories that I have. You can go to my website. It's miriamsimon.online. You can follow me on YouTube and Instagram at author Miriam Simon. And then through there, you can connect to all my different sites that I have and my podcast. And also on LinkedIn, just look for me as Miriam Simon there. I'd love to connect with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us, sharing your deep wisdom, your compassion, your story, and your fire and passion. Your commitment to helping women rise is just professionally, but personally and emotionally is powerful and deeply needed. So thank you again.
Yes, thank you for having me. It was such a pleasure to be here with you all. very energizing. I love to do this. So this is exciting and happy.
And to our listeners, if you've been moved or inspired by this conversation, make sure that you follow Miriam's work, check out her coaching offerings, and definitely tune into the Latina Mic Drop podcast for even more truth and transformation. And guys, we thank you for joining us with Leading with Purpose podcast today. I am Dr. Sharon H. Porter.
Bye, everybody. I'm Maisha B. Hoy.
And I'm Dawn Marie Bornheimer. As you navigate your leadership journey, remember that leading with purpose is not just a philosophy, but a commitment to making a positive impact.
Continue to empower, inspire, and achieve.
And if you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with your network. And don't forget to subscribe so you will never miss an opportunity to explore the intersection of leadership and purpose. And
until next time, lead with passion.
Lead with a positive intention.
And by all means, continue to lead with purpose. Thank you for joining the Leading with Purpose podcast. Please join us every Monday for a new episode.